Hello, you're welcome to the program Eyes on Corruption, the program that comes to you every Thursday at 7 p.m. Nigerian time. And you are onto multiple social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, and of course, our website, gcsdn.org. Uh, Today, we are coming out with a topic of that has to do with the election in Nigeria. Okay, and the topic is Stop the Violence. Channel your energy to vote at elections to change the situation. Nigerians have been faced with all kinds of problems, especially in the last few weeks. Nigerians now have the choice to decide to take over the country and own it or continue to allow the self-serving politicians to have their way. To this end, we'll be discussing on what has transpired in the country in the past weeks that has caused untold hardship to citizens. And for that reason, I will want you to sit back and listen to our jingles before we go ahead. Just sit back.
Eyes on Corruption, Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, GCSDN presents Eyes on Corruption, a weekly x-ray of social and political issues. Eyes on Corruption, an expose on issues that bother on corruption-related practices in Nigeria. Eyes on Corruption, informative, educative, and enlightening. Eyes on Corruption, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Join us on our social media platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and our website, gcsdn.org. Host, J. Ehizefua Ohali.
Thank you once again. You're welcome to the program Eyes on Corruption. Today, we are dealing with a topic about that has to do with the election. Election is just about 9 days away, and the Nigerian public has the right to and the choice, of course, to now begin to channel their energy towards deciding on what to do to change the status quo, not to engage in anything that has to do with violence. I know Nigerians are frustrated. There is no money in circulation for people to have access to buy or meet their daily obligations. There is no enough gas or fuel for people to power their businesses, generators in their businesses, or even the light in their houses, or their vehicles to move from one place to another. These are some of the issues that are going on right now and are causing some level of violent reactions from the citizens. In a number of states, banks have been touched, either burnt or destroyed. Public destruction of public property is a criminal offense. It's arson. So please, Nigerians, I know we are frustrated. I because of the inefficiency and misrule of the government. Please let's be very careful and exercise a high degree of caution at this point in time because this is a very dangerous moment. The cabals that want to scuttle the electionary process are at work and they will be all around the place strategizing and mobilizing people to ensure that the cause men in the city sponsor talks and all kinds of notorious human beings to ensure that they scuttle the electionary process where by a movement that is owned by Nigerians. It's currently going on and wanting to change the status quo. Please, Nigerians, let us shun violence. Rather, let us channel that energy with which we are using to destroy public properties to focus on the election and ensure we elect the right and credible candidates to positions so that this situation of misrule of the APC and PDP over the decades will be brought to a halt and a new Nigeria will begin to emerge. This is the reason why I appeal to every Nigerian that is aggrieved right now, that is bitter with the situation in the country, to please have a rethink and let's organize, strategize, and galvanize resources to ensure that the election holds and to ensure that every citizen has the right to vote and be voted for. Let us be up in this game and ensure that as time goes on and as the election commences, we do our due diligence, go to the polling station and vote. Okay, and to talk about the election itself, I want us to have a look at the general election voting procedure for 2023. And I would like to share this with you guys so that we can, as, as a way, do the needful to be able to. Okay, I want us to have a look at this. Okay, this is the general election procedure, voting procedure on the day of election. Okay, on the day of election on the 25th of February 2023, what we need to do, and that is the day for presidential and national assembly election on the 25th of February 2023. So, voters are expected to arrive at the polling unit, be on the queue on or before 2:30 p.m. to be allowed to vote. Accreditation is by the Beavers. Beavers is the electronic machine called bimodal voter accreditation system. It is used for voter verification and authentication to confirm the identity of a voter using either their fingerprints or facial recognition. The significance of these beavers and or any other electronic device INEC uses at election has been backed by the Electoral Act of 2022. It ensures that only persons eligible to vote and in possession of their PVC, that's personal voters cards, and whose names are on the register of voters of a particular polling unit are allowed to vote at that polling unit and to only vote once. You can only vote once. The difference between the beavers and the smart card reader previously used by INEC is that it verifies and accredits voters using either their fingerprints or their face, eliminating failure to accredit eligible voters. So it is very important we ensure that the beavers is used and not details of voters are stored on the beavers and not on the PVC, as was the case with the past smart card readers, which was fraught with errors. So please, now the procedure for accreditation and voting goes like this. Polling unit will open at 8:30 a.m. and close at 2:30 p.m. or when the last person on the queue on or before 2:30 p.m. votes. This means that all eligible voters on queue as at 2:30 p.m. will be allowed to vote. So please ensure you go to the election ground as early as possible so that the materials will be there before you, and before you start voting, ensure that the beavers is not yet used for anybody, so that there will be no, you know, accreditation of people, from in They might want to manipulate human beings, can be used by these money bags. So please be very vigilant that you guys check the beavers before anybody is accredited, so that there won't be some people already accredited before they brought the machine down to the ground, the polling unit ground. So please be very watchful so that there will be no manipulation of the beavers by the some rogue agents in the INEC who may have been bought over by these money bags who are crying for, who have stocked the old currency in their homes and have been able to do a lot with that by mobilizing people. Please let us be very vigilant. And after the above beavers verification is done, then and the recognition is done, people can then go and vote. After the above steps are successfully completed, a poll officer will check for your name in the register of voters and tick it. Indelible ink will be applied on the cortical of your finger. A stamped, signed, and dated ballot paper will be issued to you. If the beavers fails to recognize your fingerprints as well as facial photograph, you will not be allowed to vote. This is one of the very positives about these beavers. It electronically identifies you by your fingerprints. That is very important. So now the voting, after the accreditation, you will now be allowed to vote. Now, the voting process. You will go to the voting cubicle to mark your choice on the ballot paper in secret. In secret. I emphasize that point, in secret. I We have information from the grapevine that some people have been threatened that they must take a snapshot of who they vote for and send it to one of those, touts, some of those touts that are made to be hanging around. And I'm sure the security agencies are working on this, and they are going to be all over the place. If you are found at the close to the polling unit, they will be checking some of these things so that people who have been threatened to vote and snap and send while they are voting to whoever is threatening them will be brought to book. Take note of this so that if you are being threatened to take a snapshot of who you voted for and send it to somebody, alert the security agencies as quickly as possible. Okay. Now, ensure the ink does not smear other parts of the ballot paper to avoid your vote being rejected. Any ballot paper that has an ink smear will be rejected as a null vote or invalid vote. So the ballot paper should be folded vertically to ensure that there is no smear. You are not allowed to take photograph in the ballot paper when in the voting cubicle. Please, this is what I was trying to emphasize before now. You are not allowed to take photograph of the ballot paper when in the voting cubicle. You will drop the marked ballot paper into the ballot box in full view of all present. After casting your vote, you are free to remain 300 meters from the polling area to witness sorting, counting, and announcement of results, provided you are orderly and do not disrupt the process. Collation and announcement of results will be done depending on the type of election, after which it is announced by INEC. In order to enhance transparency, INEC has provided an online resource viewing portal called iRev, that is INECelectionsresults.ng. That is the website www.inecelectionsresult.ng, where you can view results of all polling units in real time before they are declared at the end of the election by INEC. So please, this is the situation, and this is how voting must be done. So INEC citizens contact center phone numbers will be displayed in all areas, and I have displayed this for you. Just have a look at that. INEC citizens contact center phone numbers. There are about 12 of them. Please have these numbers so that you can make calls when there are any issues. And there's a vote buying dedicated hotline to report any actions of vote buyers. This is a very critical issue. The election is for Nigerians to make or mar Nigeria. This is this is almost like a referendum in for a new Nigeria. Nigerians must be very vigilant and ensure that this process takes place and it goes smoothly. Whatever the amount of provocations, Nigerians must not throw caution overboard by being violent in any form or shape, because that is what these enemies of Nigeria want, so that they can destabilize the election and postpone it by some means. This is not acceptable. So Nigerians, be wise and let us be very careful not to play into the gallery of these enemies of Nigeria. Okay. Uh, on that note, I want to thank you for viewing. This is your program Eyes on Corruption that comes to you every Thursday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. And we are reaching you from multiple social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and of course our website, gcsdn.org. Nigeria is a country that is acclaimed the giant of Africa with enormous human and natural resources that and all the potentials that are available to us have not been harnessed to full capacity. And that is why we have taken it upon ourselves to start a movement to create a new Nigeria. And that new Nigeria is very possible. And that new Nigeria is very possible if only we can use our voters card wisely come 25th of February 2023. This is a determining time in the life of Nigerians. It is a time to free ourselves from the agents of colonial, from the stooges of the colonialists that have held us bound and underdeveloped for decades since independence. This is a test time for Nigerians. Nigerian citizens must rise above primordial sentiments of ethnicity, religion, and of course, tr- all kinds of discriminatory attitude that will engender the prolongation of these cabals in power will have to be dismantled. This is why every right thinking Nigeria who feels very aggrieved about the way Nigeria has been run since independence, who feel very bitter about the biting economic situation in the country right now, who feel insulted by the impunity of those in power, must take the bull by the horn and ensure that come February 25th, a new Nigeria will have to emerge by doing needful. Vote credible people from top to bottom. Vote people with competence, character. Vote people with expertise. Vote people with the passion and the political will to effect the change, to effect a change from the status quo, to effect the building of a new Nigeria where the son of nobody can aspire to be somebody without having to know anybody. This is our stand, and we must be alive to the responsibility of bequeathing a better nation to our children and our children's children. The onus lies on us now to make the choice whether we want to continue to allow the self-serving politicians to have their way, or we will make the choice to decide to take over the country and own it. Nigeria belongs to us all. No, we must not be onlookers. Why the self-serving politicians hold sway of our destiny, of the future of our nation? The giant of Africa is crying. The giant of Africa is crumbling. The giant of Africa is in pain and penury. We must start to rebuild. The economy is ailing beyond recognition. The nation is now the poverty capital of the world. The nation has gone through terrible situations. The citizens have gone through terrible situations that is unimaginable. If this thing that's happening in Nigeria has had happened in South Africa, people will not take it this way. People will not be this patient. Nigerians must rise above these primordial sentiments of ethnicity and religiosity and take the bull by the horns. We are all equal owners of the nation Nigeria. We must not allow these cabals, the enemies of Nigeria, the money bags, to use the stolen word to begin to lord it over us. It is not acceptable, and we must not accept this. This is our time. Nigerians must rise and take the bull by the horn. Nigerians must reject poverty. Nigerians must reject the extreme poverty, extreme multidimensional poverty that Nigerians have been pushed to must be corrected. And that is why we are all saying enough is enough. Nigerians must be liberated. Come to come February 25th, prepare yourself and galvanize your community to change the status quo. Use your voter's card to vote and defend your vote until Nigeria is liberated. A luta continua, vitória, certa. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Irregularities is not new in Nigeria. They may rear their ugly heads, but we must stand against them. Such as
kai ka dinga na biyu ka dinga dangwala mu PDP mana ai na wata ma
za ya dangwala PDP an sai mai babur APC
zo ka dangwala
ya kudi ma ya bashi babur zai danna
dangwali kadan sa'a nan nan zaka sa ka bata mana kada Allah ka
So, fellow Nigerians, we must not allow this to happen in any polling booth come February 5th. This is not what we want. We must not allow this to happen in any polling booth. Agents of all political parties must take note and ensure that justice, peace reigns, and ensure that the due diligence is done to ensure that we have a smooth, free, and fair election where no man is intimidated or oppressed or threatened to vote or sell their conscience. Nobody should sell their conscience. If you take 5,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 from somebody, you are mortgaging another 4 or 8 years of your future or your children's future. This must stop. If we have not suffered enough, in fact, if we don't get it right this time, the suffering of the past 8 years and the suffering of the past 16 years will be a child's play. It is left for us. As we make our bed, so shall we lie. Nigeria belongs to us all, and we must not condescend to the level of mediocrity. Nigeria come Nigerians come and cast your vote and ensure that the best candidate that is able to change this current narrative is who we are all voting for. Don't be intimidated. The security agencies are at alert. Those that are threatening fire and brimstone, they will be brought to shame. And for this reason, let's all be watchful. Let us all be careful. Let us go to our various communities and sensitize people on how to vote. Let people know that there is no room for invalid votes. We must do the needful and educate our people. Those that we know need some level of education on how to go through the process rightly. We must be able to do that. And that is the reason why we all out with our resources and time to ensure that Nigeria becomes a new Nigeria where we all will be happy to identify with, so that Nigeria will be taken seriously in the community of nations, so that the green passport that we hold when we are traveling in foreign lands, we will not be humiliated, we will not be discriminated against. It is possible. A new Nigeria is possible. Fellow Nigerians, let's all rise to the occasion to bequeath a strong and virile nation for our children and our children's children. In our heart of hearts, we know what is good, even though because of stomach infrastructure that some people are capitalizing on, they are doing what is wrong, supporting the wrong candidates who are in the heart of heart they know has nothing to offer. Nigeria must not be a laughing stock after the 2023 general elections. Please, fellow Nigerians, we must rise to this occasion. Use your vote wisely. Don't be the proverbial fool that has no sense of reasoning, or the proverbial person that wants to sell his birthright for a cup of coffee or a plate of food. Nigerians, beware. If you get it right, the entire African nation will begin to get it right. If you get it wrong, it may spell doom for Nigerians and the entire African race. Let us go to the election and make a resounding statement to change the narrative, to change the status quo, so that Nigeria will be taken seriously by the other nations of the world. Thank you and God bless you. Until I come your way again, I am yours sincerely, J. Ehizefa Ohan, reaching you from Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria. Thank you and God bless. Bye for now. And so